Hey guys, welcome back to another video. It's definitely been some time since I've made an actual video because I've been doing a lot of shorts lately and I've been really into that, but we are making a actual YouTube video this time together because as if you've been keeping up with the shorts, I've explained how my boyfriend Gabriel has valley fever. So we've been doing a lot of not in order videos. So we wanted to actually tell the full story of what's happened over the last couple months. And he can tell you whatever he's able to remember and his point of view too, because it is happening to him. It's different from me adding in what I say from the story. So he is going to be in our video today if you want to introduce yourself.
Hey guys, I'm the boyfriend. I'm the one that's going through this. So
let's begin. So the last couple weeks, I want to say the last 2 weeks of November till like December, he started to get fevers, and well, we thought it was, it's winter. We thought he was getting normal, just a cold, the usual fevers and stuff like that, but it was becoming more consistent. He was going up to like what, 102s?
yeah,
What?
it got pretty bad. Like 103s and like
It didn't go higher than 103, but it was always a fever. Anything above, they told us now, like anything above 100.5 is considered a fever. So he was constantly getting fevers every day. Like, I kid you not, at least for like a month or two, a month and a half, consistently getting fevers, always sick. I think it was in that time we did go get him checked, and they didn't do much. They just said, what, take Tylenol?
Yeah, take Tylenol. It's probably a flu.
Just the basics.
They didn't do nothing. They didn't give me x-rays or anything or check me much. So I thought it was just a flu.
Yeah, so at that point, we're like, okay, we'll just follow what they said.
Keep going.
We kept going. And then at the end of December, we were planning a family trip to Disneyland. We were going on the day before New Year's Eve?
I think so.
The day before New Year's Eve till the next day, drive back home on New Year's Eve. So that day before, he was still getting sick. He was still pretty sick, but we had already gotten our tickets and we were going with everybody, his cousins and everyone. So we were pretty happy about that. And he's like, okay, like, screw it. I'll just take medicine, like, to help me feel good. And we'll just pull through for Disneyland. So Disneyland comes the day that we're going, and the day that we arrive at Disneyland, I cannot stress this enough. It was raining the entire day of Disneyland. The entire day.
It was bad.
Like, oh my gosh. I think I've incorporated a picture before of all of us in our ponchos, but I could put it again, like right here, because it was, oh my gosh. It was raining off and on the entire day, day to night, like, literally.
We all had ponchos at the end of the day.
Yeah, we all ended up having to buy ponchos because we were getting like soaked. It was light rain sometimes, but like it lingers, like it still gets you really soaked. So he's pretty sick. Can you imagine like how how that turned out? So when he was getting really bad fevers, still in December, I was like trying to tell him we should go get him checked, but we had already went. So what else were they going to tell us? Like, what else were they going to say about the same thing they told us the first time? So he's like, no, like, I don't want to go and then tell you the same thing, which was, I didn't want that either. So we didn't end up going again. But after our Disney trip, I think everything from Disneyland and walking and all the rain was actually starting to hit him really hard. Like when you get that bad feeling that you're getting really sick and like you need to recover from there. So that's what happened to him. I think it hit him really hard after that. So he's like, you know what, like, let's go to Kaiser again, get checked. And so that's what we did. It was the beginnings of January, probably the first week or two. I think it was the first week, huh?
Yeah, it was close to like the first week of
Yeah.
January. I didn't wait that long because everyone was telling me to go, so I went.
And then excuse me, we did go to Kaiser again. We went to the urgent, they have an urgent care in there, so we went to the urgent care, and they want just to do a checkup, and they recommended us to, if we wanted a sooner appointment that day, they sent us to another it's like another urgent care, but it's with Kaiser, so it was like at a different location. So we went over there to our appointment. We went to our other appointment later that day, like 2 hours later after, and it was still, they still weren't really letting people go back with you if you went to the doctors and stuff. So he went, and we still needed to wear masks. Like it was still, what do you say? It was still
COVID time.
Yeah, it was still COVID time. So they still wanted us to wear masks, and they didn't let me back with him. And I didn't necessarily really ask because I knew they wouldn't let me go back there. So he went by himself, and they took a little long, honestly.
Yeah, it took a while.
It took a while, maybe like an hour or a little bit more. And then well, when he came out, just looked really scared and just confused, like something bad had happened. So we finally went to the car, and he did break down a little bit, and I saw the paper that they had released him with, and they were ordering a CT scan for his chest because they took an x-ray while you were in there, right?
Yeah.
They took an x-ray of his chest, and they found something in his right lung.
A mass.
It was a mass in his right lung, but they said they were giving him a whole list of everything it could have been. I guess that's what freaked them out the most, is because they were like, oh, this could be this could be pneumonia, this could be
a mass.
They
said everything, pneumonia,
everything
mass,
to the worst,
valley
C
the C
word,
word,
the C word. We
one.
call it the C word because that's like the worst. And so it was just, well, I mean, why? How wouldn't that be not traumatizing, but like scary? So they said that he could either do the CT scan that day, but he wanted to wait till the next day. It was a lot to process,
and it was late.
And it was, it's a lot when you hear all those things that you could possibly have. It's a lot. So we waited till the next day, and that day we went back to Kaiser, and they did the CT scan, and they did it with the dye, right? Is that what they call it?
Yeah, it's to see more with the images.
To see it more clear, I think. Like to see it more clear. And how they do that is through IV, and they put a tube and they put in it's like a blue dye, and that's what makes it more clear. But I mean, he's never really had to deal with anything medically, like at all.
I never even had a prescription.
Yeah, like he never has an excuse to go to the doctors, and even if he just gets a cold or anything, I mean, we just follow procedure, and he never really has had to deal with anything like this. So of course he was scared. We were there. I was with him because I asked the nurse if I was able to be with him until they got the dye going. And then she's like, yeah, that's fine. You just have to go afterwards. So they get in the first IV, and I mean, that one went okay. It just obviously it hurt him like hell. He's never really had to feel what an IV feels like. I've never felt that before either. So he gets the IV through, and they're like, okay, this one is not working. And he has his AirPods in, mind you, he can't hear really much because he's trying to like distract himself. And she looks at me and she's like, this one's not working. And I was like, what now? She's like, I have to do his other arm.
Yeah.
I'm like, snap.
And then you remember that arm I already drew blood.
Yeah.
It was this arm that drew blood, and then this arm was going to do the IV.
Yeah.
So I did the blood already. So this arm was already
that one was already taped up too, and everything.
And
from
this one was clear, but this one wasn't working as well. So I'm freaking out for one, and then they had to poke me again on this one. So it was interesting.
Yeah, so she's like, I have to do the other arm. And I'm like, what? And she's like, I can't do it on this one. Like, it's not letting me. So I'm like, okay. And he's like, what's happening? I'm like, she has to do the other arm. He's like, no, like I just did labs. She's like, I'm sorry, like I have to do it on that arm. So we switch sides. I'm on the other side where she was at, and she's on my side. And I'm holding his arm, just trying to make sure he's a bit calm. And so that one works. She gets it in. I mean, again, the process of it going in is not pretty, but she gets it in, and she's like, okay, we're good to go. She starts flowing in the dye, at that point.
Yeah, at that point, well, and then at that point, you left.
I had to leave because she's like, okay, I'm going to start the dye, so you need to go because we're going to start the process.
So this is what I can talk to.
Yes.
Because she doesn't know what happened. I told her afterwards. So then I was going into the tube, and I was getting ready. The dye is not being pushed in yet. They did the images without the dye in my system. The IV was in, but it wasn't, the dye wasn't in me. So they did the images without the dye, and everything went well. Then they took me out of the tube, and then they put the dye in. And apparently, when I was moving or something, the IV was moved or something. So then the dye was going in my arm instead of my veins. So then all right here was getting blown up like a balloon or like a waterbed, and you can feel the liquid in my arm.
Like it was
and it hurt a lot. So then she readjusted it, and then I think she took the needle out a little bit, and then put the tube out, put the tube in, and then put the dye in me, and finally it didn't hurt. It went into my system. But yeah, it sucked. So yeah, it wasn't a pleasant experience for the first time of me getting IV'd and dye and the CT scan.
Yeah, and from there, they started from those results is when we found out that he had valley fever, and then they got him right away. They got him a specialist for his lungs, and he's the valley fever, just the pulmonary. He's
a pulmonary only now.
Yeah, right for. As of his status for him right now, he's only his lung specialist and nothing more, because he does treat valley fever patients, but at the level that he's at, he can't do much anymore, just keep up with his lungs. So we went to go see him for the first time, and they did diagnose him with valley fever. From there, we're like, what the heck? Like, we know what valley fever is because we live in Bakersfield, and a lot of people here in town have valley fever, and it's a really common sickness. And we didn't really know exactly what it was. So, I mean, like, I know what valley fever is, but to explain it specifically, like by definition, it's like what, by like the air and the dirt.
Yeah, there's this fungus that's in the dirt that is from the earth and everything that's going on with where we live. It collects and it goes in the dirt and it kind of falls in. And what I used to do is the line of work is help my father. He's a gardener, so I was always kind of around the dirt and everything. So that's what he believes picks up, but it's like a fungus. It's not a bacteria, it's not a virus, it's a fungus that I'm gonna have in my system for life. Doesn't go away, can't kill it really, but you can kind of minimize it. So I won't have symptoms, like some people have symptoms of cough, some people get fevers, which that's what I had, headaches, stuff like that. And you can control it, but you can't get rid of it, I guess. But it kind of stays with you. It doesn't transmit.
Yeah, I get what you're trying to say.
Yeah, so it doesn't transfer to people. Yeah, you have it.
It's not contagious. It's just if you happen to get it, you get it, and it's just you can't really just breathing normal. Us breathing normal in here, me breathing normal in the house. You can still get
Oh yeah,
valley
you can
fever,
still get
anything. It's
anywhere.
it sucks because it's like it's not something you can really completely
Yeah.
stay away from.
People get it and they're not even doing outside work. Then
Yeah, I mean,
they're in an office.
I mean, yes, what he did before working didn't
Yeah.
help either, but I mean, he could have easily gotten it just not even being a gardener.
Yeah,
So
just being in your house,
just
you can
being
still get it.
a normal person, you can still get it. And so yeah, he was explaining a lot to us exactly how valley fever worked and how other people get it. And one thing we had to understand from the beginning was that how he told us, his specialist, he told us every person that I know that has valley fever gets it completely different. Similar ways, but completely different because it's all depending on how the body takes it. Every body is different and everybody will take valley fever completely different. So from there, they're like, okay, well, we need to start him on antifungal medication, which treats the valley fever, the fungal, which the valley fever is a fungal. So that's the medication that was going to start treating that. So they started you off with 4 pills?
Yeah, they started me with 4 pills. I think they gave me antibiotics too, just in case it was
they were
I was
still
affected.
they were still treating it to see what it was.
But my base diagnosis was valley fever, and then I think after that I've been taking it for a while, and this is where it kind of gets a little blurry because this was the beginning of January, and we're like not even close to that. We're like 4 months away.
Yeah.
So it was a long time ago.
Yeah.
So that's when it gets a little blurry, and a lot of appointments and a lot of tests and a lot of labs and blood work and a lot of that.
Yeah, so once they started him on medicine, they started doing a lot more lab work, a lot more. I don't think they've done an MRI first. They hadn't done an MRI, huh?
No.
I have to sneeze. Oh, okay. So they were just doing like the CT scans and blood work and stuff. So I think from that, like the process of getting him started is a bit of a blur for me as well. Like I know we did have to wait for a little bit to see, like they want to see how the medicine is even, how his body's even taking the medication. So they did have him on that stuff, and he has been on this medication for a while, but that was the beginning of starting this medication. So that was going on, and then we
were actually doing okay.
Yeah, they were getting him in the system.
I was stabilizing. Yeah. I was getting good. I was
he wasn't getting fevers as much. Yeah, he was starting something good was happening from that little bit of medicine that he was taking. So then came February, more checkups, the usual. He was seeing his primary doctor, his specialist at the same time. So each doctor wanted different things. So one doctor would want more labs, the other doctor as well. So he was doing a lot more labs. Like it took a lot of blood work and a lot of stuff just to see his numbers of the valley fever and everything. So then came May. Right? Or March. March was the first time, right?
I don't really remember, but I remember it was close.
It was like March 20s in the 20s. And that's where it's a big blur for him because he likes to say that he went crazy. I mean, kind of, but so one of those days